Hey guys, it's Bruce. I thought I'd record a little intro first because it gets started very quickly, and I want to say hi, welcome. I'm really excited to start trying something new. This started as a sort of how-to rotoscope, but it evolved into doing the full Q&A. So settle in, long video, get a drink of water and some snacks. Thanks for your questions. Okay, so this is in response to a question about how I rotoscope. So I use an iPad and I pick a GIF that I would like to see animated, and then I save it, and then I open it up in Procreate. So I select import. No, I don't. I made a mistake. I select photo, and then I click import. And it'll open it up, and Procreate's really cool. It's added this new functionality for animating, and it'll load up all of the layers, which is a little overwhelming at first. So then I play it out and I see what aspects I would like to really emphasize and keep in the animation, because it's a commitment to do a big project. So I see where I could possibly cut it off and still feel like I've got enough emphasis and emotion. So then I go through and I slowly delete all of them one by one. There's probably a faster way of doing this. I just haven't figured it out yet. So I make sure to always credit the GIFs that I'm using, because I don't know how to make GIFs. This is the most closest I've come. So it's a bit of a process, but it's more rewarding than I thought it would be. I'm very new to this. It's exhausting, and we did a little bit of it in school. I learned through Photoshop, but I don't like Photoshop. I really like Procreate. It feels way more intuitive to me. So I like to play it through again, double check. Sometimes I scrub just to make sure. And then there's this trick I learned that you can delete every other frame and it'll still move pretty smoothly as long as you make sure that your frames per second is lower than the original. I think it's something like 15 frames per second is the standard film rate. So if you're please don't take this word as gospel. Again, I have so many friends who are like very talented animators and they know this stuff so much better than me. But I think you can get it down lower as long as the frame rate sort of matches. And you'll see me sort of exploring that in the settings option. I think so I double check and see it's really sped up and looks kind of jerky. So you take it down from 15, and I like to play around with it to make sure I can figure out the exact pacing. So I think ultimately I settled around 5, but for the moment I pick 7. And then what comes next? As I uncheck visibility on all of the layers, which is still an overwhelming amount. So I like to put on a TV show or something to just really hang out. So for the specific style I like to select a solid background color. I have a bunch of colors that I really like saved that I can go in and then use at random. And so I pick one for the background, and then I pick another that'll sort of complement it. It's a lot of work. The first rotoscope I did was full color, like an incredible amount of work because I didn't know how much I was committing to. So these days I sort of just pick texture, and I pick a color, and I keep it simple. I keep the line art simple. Okay, so here we add a new layer, and I add it into a new group for each frame. So I lower the opacity on the reference, and onion skin frames, you can it's complicated. God, I don't know how to explain it. It's like the frame before and the frame afterward, and you're in between frame, so you'll see all of them on the one layer. I like to keep it simple, and I just put one so I can double check against the single previous image and not get too caught up in all of the other images, because I don't have the brain power. I'm not used to seeing that many lines on a page, so I keep it very simple with just the one onion skin. So then I figure out sort of what textures I want going on. I think I settled on a charcoal because I'm really enjoying those brushes. And sometimes, like here, I've decided that since there's so many frames, I'm going to set up a new quick menu toolbar. So I set a bunch of the actions as... so I've got my charcoal pencil setting specifically, so I can get back to it really easily with just a tab. And what else am I gonna do? The second, I put in another brush, so I also did like an ink texture that's a little easier to read, because the thing about this, about GIFs, is that you've got to really make sure it's clear, which is frustrating. Animation's hard. It's something I've really learned, but I did these. It's easier to read a crisper line when you make a GIF web ready than it is to do something sort of much more in line with what I normally do, which is sort of shaky and fuzzy, and I find that makes it feel warmer, but legibility really comes to be paramount for a small resolution for something like this. So taking that into account, I've got one sharper tool and then one softer for the background. What else do I set? I think I spend a lot of time sort of getting lost in my various brush sets. I haven't figured out... I feel bad deleting any of them just in case, but I've got way too many of them, so it's really easy for me to get lost. I spend a lot of time doing this. So so this is in response to opening up questions on Tumblr for art and various other things, because I want to start doing YouTube videos like this. I think it's going to be cool. I hope it's going to be cool. Oh yes, I also said I was looking for the freckle setting, I think. Oh no, I put that in first. Never mind. I've got a little I think it came from like a preset graffiti package that was in Procreate when I got it. But it's like these randomized flicks. It looks nice for freckles. It looks nice for texture, especially in outdoors or with sunlight, like as dust motes. I really like it. It's nice to have on hand. So I think I finally figured out the presets. Yeah, so then it just becomes tracing every frame, and so I'm doing this specifically for two different characters. So I'm turning them into the into the facial features and the key elements that really make them look like those characters. And I'm using the under photo as a reference more than anything, because animating movement from scratch is hard. And I don't have a handle on that yet, so having a helping hand through rotoscoping is really nice. It's a nice final image. I always am impressed when it all comes together. It just is cool to see. I've done some work it was a prerequisite in our program where I did illustration. We had to do movement as part of our degree, which was much griped about at the time, but it's there's something very rewarding about seeing your work move, and I get why people animate. I understand now. Yeah, but I've done a few videos, and if you want to take a scroll on the rest of my channel, I think I have a few kicking around. That I didn't rotoscope. Those ones are just fresh off the dome, doing my best. Also, I'm sorry if the audio is garbage. I was going to do a test, but then I got caught up because the intro is so fast. So I'm just talking into my iPad on Adobe Rush, so we'll see if this works out or not. And yeah, so I moved on to the next step actually, so it's just the next layer. I do the same thing I did last time, except I make sure to hide invisibility on my reference layer. And I double checked I was screen recording because I am very new to this. Yeah, so if this is garbage audio, we'll see. I'll keep changing it up. I think my nice microphone got sent back to my dad's house, so worst case, come Christmas, I can grab it when I come back. But until then, I'm sort of stuck with this. Yeah, so you just sort of settle into that rhythm of tracing the movement and putting the features that are important to the character on. And it's, you settle in. And it's, yeah, I put on a good TV show. Not one with subtitles because I can't keep up. So something I've seen before is nice, or something new and in English. And yeah, just sort of hang out with it. I think I can maybe cut some of the footage, or maybe I'll just answer a few more of the questions. Okay, yeah, that's a good idea. Who knew? Alright, so Obscure Brother asks, I was wondering what mediums you like to use when you're doing art traditionally. All of them. I think it's really fun to switch up traditional mediums. It's keeps me fresh. It makes it easier to sort of create and play, which I think is a really fundamental part of making art, is to have fun with it, and medium is a huge part of that. So recently I've been playing a lot with watercolors and oil pastels and some more graphite stuff than I used to be doing, but man, like I did my entire thesis in acrylic, which was a blast. I really love painting. Gosh, what else? Yeah, like lino cut is a lot of fun. It's so much prep work, and I don't have a press on hand, and so that makes it hard to get a less than nice print. But I've seen some cool techniques about it where you just throw some really heavy books down on the ground on top of it and do some jumping jacks, which sometimes works. So I might do a return to lino at some point. But yeah, a lot of painting. And trusty mechanical pencils. If I'm really having trouble with a piece, I'll do a rough in mechanical pencil and then input it into my iPad, and that does wonders to just make the lines very loose and the composition comes a little easier. Okay, what's the next one? when you get an idea for a piece, what's the first thing you do? I my process is complicated as it is just sort of unhinged. I half the time when I decided that I want to draw, I don't have a piece in mind. So I'll put together a composition, like a ratio that I think looks kind of fun. I really like just doing my default iPad size is what I normally end up doing, but I've been trying to push myself and do sort of longer, skinnier compositions. And then I sort of trace a movement on the page and just sort of let, oh my gosh, it sounds so silly. I let my body tell me what the big movement is going to be and what the big chunks of the piece are going to be. And then I sort of just relax into it and I see what starts coming out. I just pick colors I like and I start playing. Yeah, it really is fundamentally about goofing off. Yeah, sometimes if I'm really, really stuck, I'll take an image that I think has a really nice composition and I'll lower the opacity like crazy and then sort of trace out the big lights and darks. And then I'll get rid of that image and play around, trying to see what sort of images I see in that and build from there, which is fun. I like doing that. It's sort of, I really like looking at art as a discovery. God, I hope that doesn't sound super pretentious. It's genuinely just like I have a lot of trouble thinking visually. It's not something that comes naturally to me. If there's maybe 4 or 5 times that I've sat down and planned a piece in my head, and that's only been because like I didn't have drawing supplies at the time to just let it flow. It's very much a discovery process for me. I think that's more fun and surprising that way, and it keeps the whole thing light, you know? I put a lot of pressure on myself if I've pictured what I'm drawing beforehand. It makes me a little crazy and I can never get it right. And I don't ever want art to be about getting something right. I want it to be about the fun. I want it to be about communication. I want it to be about like having a good time. Yeah, so the first thing I do is sometimes I will have a concept of the specific thing, and then it really is like trace the movement and see how the bodies are going to interact on the page around that movement, and then get the anatomy in, and then get the colors and just, yeah, play with it until it feels right. Okay. Okay, Lesbian Dean Cass asks, who or what are your biggest art inspirations? Related, how do you develop your art style? Okay. Woo! Harry Clark has some of the most incredible ink work, and it has made me crazy for years and years and years. My father got me a big collected stories of Poe illustrated by Harry Clark back when I was in elementary school, and I think that really shaped what I am drawn to. It's like these beautiful repetitive patterns that make these beautiful forms, and sort of in that same vein of very cool ink work is Lind Ward, who's got this, he's illustrated this version of Les Mis that I can't imagine how long it took. It's just chock full of these beautiful spots, and every piece is so considered. Oh, the composition alone, it makes me crazy. But as far as art style developing goes, it's the tried and true advice that everyone says. It's about drawing as often as you can and seeing what you like about your work from that, seeing what you like about others' work from that too, is doing studies of other people's work and seeing if things come out of that just really feels right for you. I don't think it should ever be about like, this is a successful artist and so I'm going to take this and also be successful. I think it also the thesis of this is sort of, is it fun? Like, am I having fun doing art this way? And with Harry Clark, like, those repetitive patterns are such meditative joy. Like, it's I can get so lost in doing things like that. It's wonderful. It's my favorite part of doing art. But yeah, I think developing a style is very much hard work, and finding the joy within that work and repeatedly pushing yourself. There's a lot of times where I don't feel content with a style, so I force myself to switch it up. Like, really lately, in fact, I graduated and then have now discovered that I'm bored and would like to push myself more. So I've been doing this much looser, more graphic style, and I'm really frustrated because I wish I could have got some input from my teachers on it, because I really left it too late. So now I'm sort of out on the cold doing my best. But again, like, just trying to see what's keeping my attention, what's making me have fun. So yeah, just really doubling down on that. I think it's more than double at this point, but yeah, I'd say that's how I'd answer that question. Okay. So Alva's Melancholy, hi Alva, says, I remember for my Fairycast icon commission, you really appreciated it when I did the rough sketch of how I wanted the halo part of the icon. Do you always prefer it when people are very, very specific with their commission requests, or do you prefer when you get to have some creative liberty? I'm thinking of some tattoo artists I've worked with who prefer having some creative liberty. I guess I'm curious as to what your thoughts are on the specific versus creative freedom. Alpha. P.S. I started listening to Mabel. It is so good. It is so good. It is incredible. It is such a good podcast, and that's one of the ones that I really do listen to when I'm playing around doing art, because it is so visual and so inspiring. To answer this one, I love both. Like, I can't nail down my favorite way to do a commission because it is so much about the excitement of creating something that somebody really wants to see. Like, I got a commission after I did that one that was very much, I think the information I got for it was oranges and cowboys and sunlight. And that was a blast to put together, and it was a blast to create exactly what you were looking for from your sketch too. Like, yeah, I don't mind. The end goal is to always make something that someone is so excited to say, like, this is what I wanted. And however we get there isn't a big deal to me. I think it's so individual for each piece, and I think that's fun. I like it like that. Okay, trying to figure out okay. 4 more minutes on this, and then I'll have to take another recording, I think, of a different project. Let's go for a smaller one then. Sort of already, I already answered this one, sort of bibliophile. What's your approach for creating compositions? Yeah, it's very much movement based. And sometimes I'll do color based, where I'll pick a bunch of nice colors and slam them down on a canvas and then see what comes out of that. Yeah, composition's really hard for me, I won't lie. That's one of the things I really need to push myself on, I think, because I see people with these inspiring, innovative concepts around how to use a page that blow me away, and they aren't afraid of the negative space. And I think that's a big part, is that I really want to activate every part of a page. And it's hard to calm myself down. I'll have to play around with that. Yeah, that's so true. I'll have to play around with that. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, I'm thinking too much. Yeah. My approach for creating compositions is I try to keep in mind the 3/4 method. 3/4 method? The thirds. Been out of school for 2 months, and that's all I need for my brain to start ignoring it. And we did all of the learning about the Gestalt principles and stuff, but that stuff doesn't come as instinctively as I want it to. So probably something I should refresh myself on, in fact. Yeah. I'm having all of these ideas about doing a little crash course now. Okay, so yeah, that's the basic way when I'm just letting myself do art and not trying to push myself on learning the composition, I just put movement down, and it's all very instinctive. And I think I like it like that, but I would like to get to a place where innovative composition is instinctive, because I'm not there yet. Okay, I'm trying to figure out how, when, and if I should do a little sign off. I'll be doing I think, yeah, I've got enough. Yeah, there was one I wanted to answer as a full second video, because it's how I plan my comics, and let me tell you, it is abysmal. Yeah, so I'll save that for another day, but I think that's just about it. So another video will be incoming, and YouTubers always have that little sign off that they do every time. It's the branding. Okay. Thanks for listening. Thanks for all your questions. I was so sweet for you guys to come into my Ask box. I really appreciate it. It's a big help. I'm on Patreon. I'll have a link in the description. That sounds like something YouTubers said. Yeah. Have a great day.